Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Watch my video and subscribe my channel. As Carter pushes Hope to wed, Liam asks for a second chance. Plus, Sheila demands details from Luna. In Forrester's design studio, Will recovers from the shock of Elektra claiming she didn't return home last night and asks her to stop playing. He spotted her in her mask. Elektra taunts that it must have been his other girlfriend. In the main office, Carter hugs Hope and observes she's been spending a lot of time with Liam. They rehash what Bill's son has been through. Hope's just pleased he's healthy, and they can all go on. Carter croons about looking forward to their future. Will Will's mystery be solved? In the design office, Elektra informs Will that she texted him last night and hints to tonight being their night. She complains about Lainey flirting with him at the party, and then tells him he has to go as she has a meeting. She'll make it up to him tonight. Elektra will crew B&B. More. Disgusted fans criticize Will's rape. Once alone with Ivy, Elektra chuckles that Will was so out of it last night that he assumed she came back to the party. She also teases that tonight's the night. Meanwhile, downstairs, Will spies Lainey and flashes to her flirting with him the night before. He approaches her and she tells him how amazing the after-party was last night. She then admits she and Zen were out dancing for hours, leaving Will more bewildered than ever. More. B&B photographs of new cast, new studio. Will Luna detail the rape? At Lee's apartment, Luna gushes to Sheila that her night with Will was just amazing. When her granddaughter tells her that Will doesn't know she's alive, Sheila demands information. Flashing back, Luna fills her in on crashing the party in disguise, pouring Will some very powerful booze, and someone bringing out masks. The night just unfolded with her in Will's bed. Luna, Sheila, B&B. More. B&B makes a gross story even grosser, explaining that she put on Elektra's mask after she departed. Luna then says she crept into Will's bed. He was buzzed, but he was still amazing. Sheila sighs. Luna, tell me you didn't. She learns that Luna did indeed, and Will didn't know it was her. She was wearing Elektra's mask. Luna claims that she just needed one night with Will. This may change everything. Luna, Sheila, B&B. More. Luna's get out of jail free pass. What is Liam's epiphany? At Bill's residence, Liam tells his dad he's doing a lot better, commenting that it's all been bizarre. Bill pledges Buckingham will pay for what she did. Liam hopes he does, but otherwise, he's ready to go on with his life. He marvels that he has a future now. In the understatement of the decade, Liam claims that he was wishy-washy in the past. Tired with that, he now understands exactly what he wants. Bill thinks he wants Hope and his family back. Liam sheepishly grins. Liam B&B. At that same moment at Forrester, Carter's pressing Hope to be married soon so they may start their lives together. I don't want to spend another day not being your husband. Before she can answer, Ridge walks in and groans about this being an office. Hope promises Carter they'll chat later and breezes out, leaving him uncomfortable. Ridge asks his pal what's going on, and Carter complains that Hope's spending all her time with Liam. Ridge downplays it and accuses his COO of being envious. Carter grumbles that he just wants to go on with his life and get married. He's bored of waiting. Ridge suggests his guy is doing that thing where he rushes into stuff. Carter, annoyed, wants to make Hope his wife and knows she feels the same way he does. More. B&B star hinting Thope reunion. Back at Bill's apartment, Hope comes and she and Liam exchange funny grins. Bill makes nice with Hope and then exits. Liam appreciates his ex being there. In a foreshadowing of what's coming for Carter, Hope says that there's nowhere else she'd rather be. As horns play in the background, Liam declares that he's been an idiot. How many times did she pardon his indecisiveness? Now he has clarity. Liam proclaims his love and tells Hope they've been granted a second chance. We have to be a family again, he vows. Will asks Sheila for memory help. Luna's grandma lands in tight spot. The bold and the beautiful spoilers predict that Will Spencer will seek Sheila Sharp for memory help. Thus, Luna Nozawa's grandma will find in a sticky place. Luna's frolic with Will was a dream come true as far as she's concerned. But Will's living a nightmare after realizing his folly. Will thought he welcomed Electra Forrester into the bed in Deacon Sharp's spare room, but he now knows it was someone else instead. Of all, none of this is Will's fault since Luna got him drunk and tricked him with a mask. Luna put Will in a situation where he couldn't consent and just took what she wanted. Since Will doesn't know that Luna's alive or that she was feeding him 180 proof booze all evening, he's got quite a dilemma on his hands. Will can't make sense of his confused recollections, so he'll eventually turn to Sheila for aid. Although Will was already tipsy when he interacted with Sheila at the party, he at least remembers she was there. Will's going to conclude that maybe Sheila can chip in with his memory puzzle, so he'll seek her out soon enough. During the week of August 25th to 29th, B&B spoilers indicate Sheila will face a decision of her own. That's because Sheila will get a visit from Will. He'll be determined to piece the clues together and figure out the complete narrative of that night. Sheila definitely won't rat out Luna. So what will she tell Will instead? It's possible Sheila may simply explain that she only popped in the party short and can't offer any aid. Sheila also didn't observe who approached Will in the spare room, so she may point that out too. Although Sheila now sees what Luna did, she can honestly pretend she saw nothing. Sheila seemingly approved of Luna's plot when she got updates on it, but that doesn't imply she wants the truth exposed. Luna might go in great problems if Will learns this out, so Sheila may recognize that when he comes to her. As a result, Sheila might try to guide Will down the incorrect road. If Sheila throws the finger at Flirty Laney, she might add to Will's bewilderment and consider it some extra Luna protection. However, Laney will undoubtedly dispute any accusations that might get thrown her way. Sheila won't be able to stop Will from looking more into this, and maybe uncovering too much. There's also the problem of Luna's prospective pregnancy, since that may tie in with this grand plot of hers. Luna may be hoping for a permanent Will connection, but Sheila will be stuck covering for her in the meanwhile. The bold and the beautiful state Will's going to put Sheila in a terrible situation. In Forrester's design office, the atmosphere crackled with an uneasy mix of youthful tension and seasoned scandal. As Will Spencer, still reeling from the shock of Electra declaring that she hadn't come home the previous night, pressed her to stop toying with his fragile nerves, his memory a jagged blur of masks and shadows, yet certain he saw her in that identical disguise, only to have Electra dismissively tease that he must have mistaken her for his other girlfriend. A jab meant to mock him, but that instead cut deep, leaving Will spiraling as he wondered if his fractured recollection was betraying him. And while he stewed in confusion, Electra slid away with her secret intact, continuing to play a dangerous game in which Will's identity crisis and Luna's deception entwined like twisted vines. Meanwhile, just beyond in the main office, Carter Walton pulled Hope Logan into a warm, possessive hug, remarking on how much time she'd been spending with Liam lately, his tone casual, but laced with unease, and as Hope defended her actions by recounting everything Liam had endured, from his misdiagnosis to Grace Buckingham's fraud and his near brush with death, Carter crooned about his eagerness to leave the past behind and pressed for a wedding date, insisting that nothing should stand in the way of their future together, though his timing could not have been worse, for destiny was busy aligning Liam's heart and Hope's loyalties elsewhere, setting the stage for a collision of love, guilt, and second chances that would explode across families. Back in the design room, Electra soothed Will with a feigned promise that she had texted him last night and cryptically hinted that tonight would be their night, adding fuel to his bewilderment as she complained about Laney's shameless flirting at the party before dashing off to her meeting, leaving him dangling in a web of half-truths. Then, with Ivy, Electra cackled over how out of it Will had been, relishing his confusion, while downstairs Will stumbled into Laney and, flashing back to her flirtations, tried to piece together the puzzle, only for her to reveal with casual delight that she and Zen spent the night out dancing, a revelation that left him more puzzled than ever, his mind gnawing at the impossibility of who had been in his bed. While at Lee's place, Luna breathlessly gushed to Sheila about her so-called magical night with Will, her words dripping with romantic delusion as she claimed it was everything she had dreamed. But Sheila, sharp and calculating, cut in coldly, demanding hard details, forcing Luna to confess in flashback that she had crashed the party in disguise, pumped Will full of liquor strong enough to erase his reason, and slipped on Electra's mask after Electra departed, slithering into Will's bed under false pretenses, her voice trembling between shame and triumph as she admitted he was buzzed yet. Amazing! Leaving Sheila aghast as she groaned, "Luna, tell me, you didn't," only to learn that Luna had indeed taken what was not hers, that Will had not known it was her, and that she justified it all as needing just one night to change her life, which horrified Sheila not because of the violation, but because of the looming consequences that could destroy them both. And in that moment, grandmother and granddaughter stood on opposite moral cliffs, one lust-drunk and the other survival-driven. While across town at Bill Spencer's mansion, Liam told his father he was finally doing better, marveling at the surreal reprieve from death after Grace's scam, and Bill, darkly vowing that Buckingham would pay for her con, urged Liam to seize his future, which prompted Liam to confess, with newfound clarity, that he no longer wished to waste time with his wishy-washy patterns, but instead knew exactly what he wanted: Hope and his family back, eliciting a knowing smirk from Bill, who said as much. And at that very moment at Forrester, Carter was on bended, emotional, knee-pressuring, Hope to marry him soon, declaring, "I don't want to spend another day not being your husband," only for Rich Forrester to barge in with a grunt about this being an office, not a love chapel, derailing Carter's momentum and prompting Hope to dodge by promising to talk later, leaving Carter simmering in doubt. And when Ridge probed, Carter fumed that Hope spent too much time with Liam, accusations Ridge brushed off as jealousy, warning his friend about rushing too fast, but Carter stubbornly insisted Hope wanted the same future he did, unaware that elsewhere at Bill's home, Hope was giggling with Liam, their eyes sparkling with the familiarity of old love as Bill diplomatically excused himself. And in that silence Liam seized the moment to tell her he'd been an idiot, that her endless forgiveness of his indecisiveness had been undeserved, and that now, with clarity, he wanted a second chance at love and family. Words that landed like a thunderclap just as Carter's proposal plans crumbled, while elsewhere the younger generation's scandal threatened to detonate, as Will, haunted by gaps in memory and suspicious flashes of masks and touches, realized he needed help piecing together the nightmare, and, remembering that Sheila Carter had been present at the party, sought her out, determined to enlist her in solving the mystery of who was in his bed, forcing Sheila into a precarious corner, torn between protecting Luna and shielding herself. And when Will pressed her for truth, she weighed lying outright against spinning suspicion toward Lainey, knowing Luna's entire future, and perhaps pregnancy, hung in the balance, and as all these threads tangled tighter, Carter's desperation for marriage, Hope's pull toward Liam, Will's tortured quest for clarity, Luna's dangerous secret, and Sheila's instinct to protect her granddaughter converged into a storm that would rip across the Spencer, Forrester, and Logan families, blurring love with betrayal, survival with manipulation, and forcing every character to decide what kind of truth they could live with. As the fallout deepened across Los Angeles, Carter grew increasingly restless in the Forrester main office, pacing the length of the room like a caged man as Ridge's earlier words about rushing gnawed at him, his irritation mounting because in his heart he was certain that Hope loved him, certain that she wanted stability and a fresh future, yet her constant drift toward Liam Spencer was a thorn he couldn't ignore. And when he spotted Hope laughing on the phone, later that afternoon, her smile, brighter than he had seen in weeks, Carter's heart sank as he overheard her saying Liam's name, igniting a storm of doubt that made him question whether he was simply the rebound, the safe harbor after the hurricane of Hope's failed marriage, while elsewhere Liam's epiphany burned like wildfire, his newfound clarity sending shockwaves as he began making bold declarations, telling Bill he would not waste this second chance, telling Wyatt he wanted his brother's support in winning Hope back, and even telling Steffi that he had finally learned who truly owned his heart, though his confession left Steffi torn between relief that he no longer strung her along and dread that he was about to blow up Hope's engagement to Carter. And in the shadows of this love triangle's turbulence, Sheila Carter faced her own nightmare as Will Spencer showed up at her apartment unannounced. His youthful face etched with confusion and pain as he stammered about blurred memories of masks, strong drinks, and a night he couldn't piece together, begging Sheila for help because she had been at the party and might hold the missing puzzle piece. And Sheila, with Luna trembling in the next room listening, plastered on her most maternal smile while her mind raced at lightning speed, knowing she could not betray her granddaughter yet realizing Will's persistence was dangerous. So she crafted a story of half-truths, insisting she had only stopped by the party briefly, that she hadn't seen who followed him to Deacon's spare room, that Lainey had been particularly flirty, and maybe he should talk to her, planting seeds of misdirection even as her conscience screamed that she was weaving a web too fragile to hold, and Luna, emboldened by Sheila's cover, later whispered her gratitude, though Sheila snapped back with fury that Luna had no idea the hell she had unleashed, that playing games with masks and drunken men was a crime that could bury them both, especially if whispers of a possible pregnancy proved true, a chilling revelation that made Sheila clutch her chest as she realized she might soon be covering not just for Luna's scandal, but for the next Spencer heir conceived in sin. And while Sheila wrestled with her secrets, Hope found herself walking a tightrope of emotions at Bill's mansion, staring into Liam's pleading eyes as he confessed that he loved her, that he wanted their family back, his words striking chords of nostalgia and longing that she thought had been silenced, and though she reminded him softly that she was with Carter now, her wavering tone betrayed the truth, that Liam's passion still lived in her, that Carter's stability could not erase their history. And when Bill returned to the room, catching only the tail end of Liam's vow, his knowing smirk confirmed he was already playing matchmaker, determined to see his son reclaim the woman he believed was his destiny, leaving Hope's heart in chaos, Carter's patience unraveling, and Liam on the precipice of either redemption or another heartbreak, while Will's desperation to uncover the truth kept mounting, his determination to piece together that night clashing with Sheila's ruthless protection of Luna, and somewhere beneath it all, Luna's fantasy of binding herself to Will forever through deception simmered dangerously, promising that no matter what Carter, Liam, Hope, Sheila, or Ridge did next, Los Angeles was barreling toward an explosion of lies, revelations, and betrayals that would make every prior scandal look tame by comparison. By the next morning, tension had seeped into every corner of Los Angeles, threading through Forrester creations like invisible wires ready to snap, as Carter, dressed immaculately but carrying the weight of restless frustration in his eyes, marched into Hope's office determined to set a date for their wedding, his voice urgent as he reminded her of the promises they had whispered in the dark, the stability he offered compared to Liam's chaos. But even as he spoke, Hope's mind drifted back to Liam's declaration, his eyes alight with sincerity she hadn't seen in years, and her chest tightened with the memory of how natural it felt to be with him again, which made her responses to Carter come out hesitant, clipped, filled with pauses that only fueled his paranoia. Meanwhile, in Bill Spencer's cliffside mansion, Liam was already plotting his path forward, confiding in Wyatt that he would not stop until Hope realized they were meant to be, admitting his mistakes of indecision, but swearing that surviving a false death sentence had burned away his doubts, leaving only clarity that his heart belonged to Hope, though Wyatt, torn between supporting his brother and recognizing Carter's devotion, warned that blowing up Hope's engagement would reignite old wounds. Yet Liam pressed on, determined to win her back with honesty rather than manipulation, even as his father quietly strategized in the background, believing that nudging Hope toward Liam was not only the best outcome for his son, but a chance for the Spencer legacy to heal. Across town, Will Spencer paced outside Il Giardino before finally stepping inside to confront Sheila Carter once more, his young face shadowed with determination as he confessed that he could not sleep, that his memories of the party and the masked figure who came to him were gnawing at his sanity, and Sheila, internally cursing her bad luck, forced a laugh as she claimed he must have simply mixed up Lainey's flirtations and Electra's. Dramatics, but Will, sharper than she gave him credit for, pressed harder, reminding her that she had been there, that she must have seen something, his eyes narrowing as if daring her to lie, and Luna, eavesdropping in the back room, nearly dropped the glass in her trembling hand, her breath hitching as she realized what was closer than ever to piecing the truth together, while Sheila, caught in her own trap, decided to push him down a false trail, subtly suggesting maybe Zend had something to do with it, knowing the Forrester playboy's reputation could easily shoulder suspicion. And as Will left still unsatisfied, Luna emerged, pleading with Sheila to keep protecting her, but Sheila's temper erupted, snapping that Luna was foolish to think one stolen night could build a future, warning her that pregnancy or no pregnancy, the truth had claws that always came out, yet Luna, eyes glassy with obsession, whispered that she would do anything to hold on to Will, even if it meant living. In the shadows, back at Forrester, Ridge cornered Hope after seeing Carter storm off in frustration, bluntly asking if she was truly in love with Carter or simply clinging to him because he was safe. And Hope, flustered, insisted she cared deeply for Carter, but admitted Liam's recent transformation had shaken her, making Ridge sigh heavily as he muttered about his own history of being torn between Brooke and Taylor, recognizing the same storm brewing in Hope's heart, and while fatherly concern drove him to urge her to slow down before marrying Carter. His interference only deepened the divide, as Carter later accused Ridge of sabotaging his happiness, sparking a heated exchange that hinted at cracks not just in friendships, but in the company itself. And as the day bled into night, Liam stood outside the Logan cabin rehearsing his speech one last time, determined to show Hope that this was not the same indecisive man she once divorced. While inside, Hope stared at her engagement ring, her hand trembling as Carter's voice and Liam's words echoed in her mind, two futures colliding in her heart, even as across town Sheila plotted her next move, determined to shield Luna from exposure at all costs. Though deep down she knew the truth was like fire, it always burned its way to the surface, threatening to set Los Angeles ablaze in scandal, heartbreak, and revelations that no family could ever fully recover from.